Welcome to the Michigan Golfer Show. Join us each week as we explore the people, the places, and the events that shape our great game.
Hi, I'm Jack Berry, and I'm here talking with an old friend, Harry Bowers, longtime golf course designer. He's been around the world, and and Harry's going to tell us all about it. What have you been up to? Right, with Robert Trent Jones. Bob Jones, Bobby, he doesn't like that, Bob Jones, and Rees Jones, three of them who did a lot of golf courses around the world. And you got in on some of them. You worked for Trent with Roger Rulewich, and you knew the brothers.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. As you know, I left Michigan State because I got hired by Robert Trent Jones Sr. and moved out to Montclair, New Jersey, and our office was maybe 3 blocks away from Rees Jones's office. Rees had worked for his father, but he went out on his own, and he had an office right above the Wedgwood cafeteria, one of the great cafeterias of Montclair, New Jersey. So we used to have lunch there a lot. We'd all meet at the Wedgwood and have lunch, so got to exchange a lot of stories. Yeah, I've known Rees for a long time.
So what, you have not worked on any of his courses, is that correct?
Never have, but
how many courses for Trent did you?
Oh, geez. I never counted it up, but I think I told you once before. When I started, Roger Rulewich was the senior architect, and I'm not sure he felt we needed a design associate, but Mr. Jones felt we did, and I got hired. And I remember my first couple of days there, Roger hardly said anything to me, and I knew there was something going on there. I was like, oh, God, what have I gotten myself into? Had a nice office, though, looked out on the Montclair Avenue. But I never got much design work. It was primarily drafting work and things like that. And then finally Roger came in one day and he said, here, this is Malone Golf Club. We're going to add another 18 to it, and this is your first project, and here's the contact information. He walked out. He was smoking his pipe. He walked out, walked into his office, just laid all the plans on my desk. I was like, I was excited, but and then I found out Malone, New York. It was about 50 miles south of Montreal. It was in the middle of nowhere. It was as bad as The Rock almost, He didn't want to go up to way upstate New York, so that. And then after that, I pretty much got most of the renovation work and stuff until later. But I used to have lunch all the time at the Wedgwood, like I said, and Rees and his guys would be there. And Keith Evans was his vice president. He was another Michigan State graduate. And Greg Muirhead was my age. He had just graduated from Ball State, and he started about the same time I did, only he started with Rees. So Greg kind of experienced some of the same things I was going through, but with Rees.
So then the courses in Michigan that you worked on were Treetops.
One I did was Treetops, and like I said, Roger Rulewich was the lead architect. But it was a great experience because I finally got to actually do more than just drafting work and whatnot. I'd been doing renovation work. I'd done the Montclair or the Malone Golf Club, but yeah, that was great for me, and it was pretty nice of Roger, really. I mean, he knew I was from the area, and he said, "Listen, we've got this project, and you need to come with me." So that was really, I felt accepted more, and I thought it was pretty gracious of Roger to say, "Hey, come on with me, and you got to be part of the design team." So, and then I've worked on, I've done several other golf courses, but I also, when I was with Mr. Jones, I worked on the North Course at Oakland Hills. It wasn't much work, but a little bit of work. And then Point of Woods. And that was fun because we were specifically trying to make Point of Woods a little tougher for the Western Amateur. And that was the year Scott Verplank won it.
And what a great run that they had with Western Amateur. Gosh, I saw Ben Crenshaw. That was his second last tournament as an amateur. He went from there to that Porter Cup by Buffalo, and then he went back to Texas, and he won his first. He won his first tournament. Yeah. But also, and Craig Stadler won at at the Western Amateur and went over and right, yeah.
The famous towel incident underneath the tree. Oh, a lot of famous people won the Western Amateur at Point of Woods. I mean, it was there. I remember right after that. Well, I shouldn't say right after it, but not too long after that, they got Michael Jordan into the Western Amateur. Oh yeah. And I remember reading about that, Jack, and I'm thinking, he's going to go to Point of Woods, and he's going to get it handed to him. He's got no clue what happens when they set these courses up for real, true tournament play, and he did. I think he shot 90 his first round, and that was the end of giving him a freebie invitation to the Western Amateur. Basketball, yes, but golf at that kind of level, no.
West Michigan.
Well, I went back for the tournament after we renovated because I just wanted to see what it was all about and listen to it. And I remember it was after one of the practice rounds, and I was talking. I can't remember who I was talking to, but Scott Verplank kind of came up, and he had overheard that I had been working on the renovation. And he said, I got to ask you a question, Harry. He said, that bunker on the 14th hole on the left side of that fairway, he says, I don't remember that. I don't ever remember having to deal with that bunker. And he said, I've been in that thing twice already. It wasn't there before. We had just put that, Jones had said, we need a bunker out there on the left-hand side. And boy, and it turned out it caught him in the final round, too. But he got up and down and got his par.
Yeah, he was a great player. He still is. I always thought he was a great Ryder Cup player. God.
Oh, he's great. The United States has been so blessed with so many great golfers and personalities. You can't even name them all. You tend to think of just the big guys, but then there are so many guys that never won a major maybe, or maybe they only won 10 or 12 times on the tour, but you have no idea at the level of golf that they played. Those guys that only won 4, 5, 6 times, they're still phenomenal golfers. The average golfer just doesn't even realize it, how tough it is on the tour.
When you're designing a course, do you think of how they would play it, or do you?
Well, I do only if the clients are asking for something at a championship level, and this is one thing that I'm at odds with Rees Jones. And we haven't had conversations in a few years, but years back, when I left Mr. Jones and I went on my own, one of the things I did was I started working for different tour players. And he was so mad at me one time that he thought I betrayed the golf course architects. And I thought that was strange. I looked at him and I said, Rees, I can't believe you feel that way. All the great architects were great players. I said, your dad was a great player. He finished in the top 10 of the Canadian Open when he was an amateur. I said, your father was a great player. Your brother was a great player. Of course, I shouldn't have mentioned that because he didn't care much for his brother. But I used to go back and forth with that. I was like, if you're going to do a championship golf course, you better know how to play that portion of the game. And there are many architects today that they design and supervise these championship golf courses, and it's not their fault, but they can't play it to that level, so I notice it. They end up with greens that maybe are too contoured, or bunkers that are too deep, or too many bunkers, or the angle of play is different because their mind is thinking of tournament or championship play, but because they can't play it at that level, they make minor mistakes, and I've told you that. I felt Tom Doak, who's a wonderful golf course architect, don't get me wrong, but I've always felt his greens, especially on his short par 4s and short par 5s. He's trying to do kind of a risk reward, but his greens are so heavily contoured, there's no reward. So as a player, when I'm playing it, I lay up because there's no reward to go for it in 1 if it's a par 4, or if it's a par 5 to go for it in 2, because I'm so heavily penalized. If I miss that shot, I'm looking at bogey. So I think that playing the game is a great benefit if you're doing championship golf. If you're not, it probably doesn't matter.
You've become very much an advocate for shorter courses, right?
Yes, and it probably is because I've gotten older and I'm not as good a player anymore. But I listen to people. I've done a lot of public golf, as you know. I'm not a big name architect, so I don't get the great sites. You know, Pierce Lake is a good example out in Washtenaw County. This is a pretty darn good site, but it was a farm, you know, it's farmland and whatnot, and it's a county, it's a municipal course. They don't have the money to maintain. So we do less bunkers, we try to do wider fairways, we try to do bigger tees, bigger greens, and that was, you know, 15 years ago. Today, I've actually done a golf course that has no bunkers on it. Down in Bonita, it was Ray Floyd's idea, believe it or not. It was for Hyatt. I kind of thought, maybe this is bad, Raymond. I said, you just got done redoing Doral and you got blasted for it. Maybe this isn't a good idea to experiment. The vice president of Hyatt loved it, and we did it, and guess what? Sports Illustrated said it was one of the top 10 public golf courses that year, and people love it.
You have worked for Raymond, and you work for Curtis Strange, right?
Marco Mira and Angel Cabrera and Eduardo Romero, and that was pretty good down in Argentina. I had Eduardo Romero, they called him the cat. And then Angel Cabrera, they called him the duck. Right. So it was Gato and Pato. But yeah, I've worked with a lot of them, and I enjoy it. Tom Weiskopf's a little difficult right now on our third course in Argentina. But he's a great mind as far as golf design. Now, you can't take that away from him. He is a truly, I think, one of the great architects today. But as he's getting older, he's getting tough to work with, man.
Well, and you did work with Raymond over at near Grand Blanc, the course over there, Captain's Club.
Yeah, we have. We'd like to see that in a little better shape, to be honest with you. But you know, they're trying. I think it's tough, as you know, as a public golf course. Daily Fee Golf Course in Michigan has taken a beating the last 10 years, and you know, I don't know if we've built too many golf courses or you know, in the economy, it's probably all of the above. I don't know, but that's another reason why I'm a proponent of fewer bunkers. I really don't think the average golfer cares so much what the golf hole looks like. And a lot of times as architects, we put 2, 3, or 4 bunkers in a place to kind of showcase it or highlight it or frame it. We've got our art hat on, you know, and we're thinking of how it looks and whatnot. I don't think the average golfer really cares, at least the Daily Fee golfer. But what he does care is if he's in that bunker, he hates it. And of course, the golf course owners, bunkers are probably the highest labor you have. And if you start dropping them down or reducing them, I mean, if you got 3 bunkers to highlight a dog leg, maybe 1 bunker will do fine. I think they could cut their costs, their operating costs.
And some of these bunkers that they have all this squiggly around and really hard to cut the grass in hand mow. Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. Black Lake, Rees did that, and I've been up there several times where Terry Moore and I were doing some work for them. And it's a terrific golf course with a nice little short course besides for kind of family outings or something like that. But it did, the president of the UAW who started the golf course did it for members, for UAW members, but I'm not sure that many of them are playing golf anymore. And
they've all retired and moved to Florida. Well, I haven't been able to play the golf course because I'm gone a lot in the summer, like I said, but I hear nothing but great things about Black Lake, and I can tell you this. I think the lead architect for Rees, the guy that spent most of the time there, was Greg Muirhead. And like I said, I've known him for years. We started out at the same time, had many conversations, and he's a great architect. He graduated from Ball State, I think. He's an Indiana guy. He's a great personality. And I think it's important for all of the architects to have somebody on site. You know, it's like I was on site at Treetops a lot when Roger was out doing other stuff or Mr. Jones wasn't there. I think it's important, and if you go back and look at the old architects, they all had somebody that was on site to construct it, and I think it's important. And Greg Muirhead was great. He's still with Rees. Rees Jones, how can you argue with that name, huh?
Right. Well, it's a wonderful golf course. I've had a lot of fun the times that we played.
Yeah. Maybe we go play it this summer, Jack. Huh? We'll go bump it around there. That'd be good. That's all right. We got nothing else to do. That'd be fun. I'll drive. And I'll putt. You hit the tee ball, I'll putt. Great.
If I hit the tee ball, we're not going very far.
Okay.
So I've been talking with Harry Bowers, and he is a golf designer extraordinaire, and right Michigan State man, and lives right next door here to the Suburban Showcase. Right. Thank you, Harry.